Hey you guys, welcome to Alex and Andy Live with Shanghai Daily. I don't know if you can see, but I have the view of Lujiazui up there. I guess it's not working, but anyway, we are coming to you live from Shanghai, China, where we are currently still locked down. Today is day number, Alex will know. Alex, what day is it today?
35.
35, day number 35 of the citywide lockdown. So we are in Puxi, which you guys know, which is the western part of Shanghai. So we entered lockdown a little bit later. As Alex said yesterday, there are some people that have been, how long? 50 days now or more.
More than that. Some people, I have a friend of mine has crossed the 55 mark. So it's a lot of people. Some people have been locked down for a large number of days, I mean to say.
It's a long time, yeah. Of course, no end in sight just yet, although the numbers are coming down very nicely. I have the numbers here for yesterday, which was the 4th of May. We had 261 new symptomatic cases and 4,390 new asymptomatic cases. And like we were saying yesterday, the number to look for is community infection. So yesterday we had in Shanghai 31 community infections. So looks like it's going down nicely, Alex.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, as I said on our stream yesterday, it can go one of three directions. It can go up, it can go stay steady, or it can go down. And so it's the best of the three possibilities.
Yes, change is the only constant in the universe. So yeah, either way, but I'm feeling confident it's going to go down. Today we saw it's still a decrease on the previous 24 hours, not as much as we've seen in days prior. I think the day before that we had a decrease of 12.5%. Yesterday's decrease wasn't that many, I think about 50 cases, but it's still down, heading in the right area, I think.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we were seeing some suburban districts out sort of in the outskirts of the city get to really low numbers in the single digits. I think Fengxian district today might have been down to 1, which is good. We're still seeing higher numbers in other districts, particularly in Pudong and also central areas of the city. But we are seeing an overall downward trend, which is encouraging.
Yeah, very encouraging. There is that list of the districts. Shanghai obviously has 16 districts, like you just said, Fengxian. 0 confirmed cases, which is symptomatic, and only 1 asymptomatic case. So that's looking really awesome. I'll check out my district. Oh, quite high. 20 symptomatic and 525 asymptomatic. How's Putuo looking?
A little bit better, it seems. 388. Although I live right on the Putuo-Jing'an border.
So you're looking at both.
Around me, they've erected a sort of a barrier between, like, where I can see it out my window. I guess I'm right on the edge of one of the Jiedao, one of the sub-districts, and so even when I am let out, whenever that happens, I know that the compound directly across the street from us is already in the green, so presumably they're allowed to get out and about, but they're not allowed to cross that border. So the thing is that's happening right now is even if people enter the green areas and they're allowed out, ostensibly it'll be one of a number of things. It's possible that your Jiweihui might just say no and not allow you out, and they, for better or worse, can do that. It might be that you're only allowed one person out per day, and that might be that person is only allowed out for 2 or 3 hours at a time.
Right.
There are a lot of different restrictions like that, and even if they are allowed out, they'll only be able to stay in a small several block sort of perimeter. And so even it's better than being where I'm at right now, which is where I can't go out the front door. But at the same time, don't think that if you enter the green, that means that you can just have free reign to roam around the city, because that's also not the case.
No, definitely not. I took this picture last night. Actually, it looks like I'm out, but as you can see on the side of the image, there's the blue fence. I don't know if it's some
selfie stick or something.
It's actually just my arm. I'm not sure if that's similar to the fence you're mentioning that was put up, but we've had this fence around our block because our Xiaochu is a city block. We've had this fence around the whole thing since day 1. So this is looking out onto Xizang Beilu, and this is a 7-lane main road, normally very busy, but last night very, very clear. So yeah, it just goes
many of the roads
how quiet.
Yep, absolutely. No, the road right downstairs from me is also a pretty not quite as main of a road as North Shitan, but also a pretty main arterial road in this part of the city. I'm in a little bit of a different area from you, but not too far away. But in any case, yeah, it's empty. You know, aside from the occasional ambulance or police car, sometimes blaring their sirens. I don't understand why. There's no one else on the road, but whatever. And and you know, sometimes you'll see trucks bringing in food or other supplies, and then you'll see some motorbikes or e-bikes with delivery guys racing around to get their jobs done as well. So that's pretty much it. Only a very small number of private cars.
Right. Kevin James Ing has commented on that last image I had up. He said that street looks like a very level 4 lockdown Auckland, New Zealand road. Yeah, it does look. Actually, it does look a lot like Auckland, to be honest, with this style building. Except the driving is on the wrong side of the road, or the right side of the road.
Yeah, I might compare that to maybe a Boston or something like that in the U.S. But in any case, yeah, I mean, obviously the sign up there kind of.
Yeah.
But no, Shanghai does have a bit of a distinct look. I kind of rather like it. There's some unique looking buildings. Not everything. I find that in cities back home, they also look great and they look classic in the U.S. I mean, but I find that the buildings to be more or less sort of homogeneous in their architectural styles. Okay. So a lot of square and boxy angles and things. You know, that's why like the Chrysler Building in New York really sticks out because most of the buildings don't look like that. But in Shanghai, we've got a lot of really cool architectural designs and things like that. So I really kind of appreciate that about this city.
Hey, what's that building in New York? I think it's on 5th Avenue, the corner building. We have a very similar one here in Shanghai.
I'm not really sure. I've only been to New York a handful of times, and I've never actually lived in the city. I really do enjoy New York City, but it's for me, New York City has always been a place that I like to visit, or if I'm there for any sort of business or job related thing. Is great, but I don't know if I would like to live in New York full time. It's a bit fast paced. I feel much the same way about Hong Kong as well. I find it to be Shanghai is fast paced, but it's just a tick below where New York and Hong Kong are at. And so I find that Shanghai is more my speed, and New York and Hong Kong are just a tick too fast for me. Exactly. Oh yeah, I don't know what the name of that building is, but I've seen it.
Flatron building, apparently. There's a building in Shanghai that looks very similar. I don't know if you know the name. Do you know the name? I could bring it up.
I don't, but I can see it in my head.
Yeah. So there's a building in Shanghai that looks very similar to this, which is awesome. In fact, if I go to Google, we can probably find it just by doing a quick search. But maybe not. Oh, there you go. There it is.
Oh, there it is right there. Yeah.
Very similar, eh? But this one's rounded and
same sort of style, I think.
The New York one's kind
of... Is that Wukong Mansions? Yeah. Of course, I know that building for sure. Yeah. Yep, that one's right downtown. I believe in Shoe District, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, are we back? We're back? Give me these. Okay, looks like we have a bit of a connection problem here. So what I'm going to do is go to our guest. Alex, are you back? Oh no, I think it's still really bad. Hey, do you want to try resetting it maybe, and I'll talk to Yang Jian. Okay, so I'm going to bring in Yang Jian, who is our Shanghai Daily reporter. Yang Jian, can you hear me? Hey, so we've received lots of questions lately actually about these PCR testing sites, kind of like little kiosks that have been popping up all over Shanghai. I wondered if you knew anything about that and if it's going to be a sign of the new normal maybe.
Yes, you know.
Unfortunately, hey, we're having a bit of a connection problem there with Yang Jian as well. I'll try and bring Alex back in. Alex, can you hear me?
Yeah, I've switched to my 5G data, so I should be okay. I was wondering if, yeah, I couldn't hear him very well either, and I was wondering if that was a problem with my connection or his, but it looks like it might be his.
Let's see. So if the producer could please let Yang Jian know that he needs to try to reset and come back
Yes,
in,
we'd like to get him
we
in.
will.
We've had him on every day now, and he's giving us good information. Yang Jian is our reporter
Yeah.
who attends the daily press briefings by the Shanghai government, and so he hears the information and can ask the questions and gets all the direct sources. So he's the direct source, and so it's important that we can try to get him on. He's been on for several days in a row, a couple weeks now, and so we always look forward to hearing from him. So hopefully we can get him back on a little bit later. But I did kind of want to point out, we have a few blurbs to talking about the numbers. Again, there were 4,390 asymptomatic cases and 261 confirmed cases, which just means symptomatic cases, with 31 community infections, right? And what does that mean? It means that there are 31 out of the total, quick math, the total 4,651 infections. 31 of them took place outside of a quarantine facility or quarantine hotel or a lockdown area, right? So, for example, my shelter, my neighborhood is locked down. And so if there was a new case in my building, which thankfully there wasn't today, although we did have one a couple of days ago, then it will count as a community infection. And so that's what that number means.
Yeah, it's important to keep that, like I was saying last night, keep that number in mind, because that is the important one. Hey, I'm going to quickly read some comments while we wait for Yang Jian.
Okay.
E's Place said, always thought Shanghai looked like Wellington. Wellington, New Zealand is my hometown. Some parts, I reckon, are pretty similar. Joel Albert said, is Andy referring to the Flatiron building in New York City?
Flatiron.
That is Flatiron. Oh, I'm reading it wrong. The Flatiron building in New York City. Yeah, that's the one. When I went there, that was one of the first buildings I wanted to go see. I think it's pretty awesome. We actually have a building in Wellington that looks similar as well. So yeah, and ZDJ said, yeah, it's the Wukang building, which I think is very similar. There's a lot of that colonial type architecture here in Shanghai, obviously a lot to do with Shanghai's history. Somebody said, Kevin said hello, Yang Jian, but he's actually
we will try to get him back on the line as soon as we can. But yeah, you know, ABC, you go ahead.
I won't read it. Here's a funny message. Go on, Alex.
Yeah, we see it. No, I don't know. Hopefully that's not possible. Anyway, yeah. So I was going to say that it's true that different parts of Shanghai can sort of remind you of different parts of other cities. That can be true.
Right.
When comparing any two cities, not any two cities, but many cities around the world, the difference between Shanghai is that it's just absolutely enormous. Not just in terms of its population, but also in terms of just its sprawl and spread. Shanghai really is a very big city. You know, when I talk to people back home, of course, New York City is a really huge city, and its metropolitan area nearly has as many people as Shanghai, but it's just not quite the same. You know, it's got a downtown area, but the number of 30 and 40-story buildings that stretch out in Shanghai, it really kind of dwarfs most other cities in the world in that regard.
Yeah, it's definitely impressive. Growing up in New Zealand, I know we always referred to, for example, New York as the city that never sleeps, the Big Apple.
Yeah.
So I was always so excited to go there. But I actually visited many places in Asia before I went to New York. And then after that, when I went to New York, I was like, are you seriously saying this is the city that never sleeps? Like, it was nowhere near as,热闹, as rustling.
I'm having some trouble with the connection. Please try again.
Many Asian cities I've been to. What do you reckon, Alex? Do you think it compares?
Oh yeah, I think it's different. I think the setup is different. The way that they plan, the urban planning in a lot of cities in the U.S. is just a little bit different from the way they do it here. It's a lot more sprawl, but it's also sort of lower.
You need a car.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you need a car. It's not good for public transportation in the U.S. Unfortunately, is not really very good at all. You need a car. People want to have their own space. They want to have their own individual house with their yard and their fence and their dog and everything like that. And so people will drive an hour and a half, 2 hours into the city to go to work or whatever, but live really far away because they prefer that kind of space and that empty, that lawn and the grass and the suburban sprawl, which I think is terrible. I mean, personally, whatever makes you happy. I know a lot of families prefer it. You know, they see it as safe for the kids and things like that, and that's cool. I find it to be incredibly boring, drab, and sort of monochrome monotony. But that's just the way I feel about it. I'm more of an in the city guy, or or something like But anyway, that's just sort of the way that states in the U.S. are set up, as opposed to the way they're set up here, which is a little bit different.
No, for sure. I reckon the feeling is completely different. Both hustling and bustling in their own right, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, I see that Yang Jian is back now, so we'll see how his connection's going.
No,
it looks a lot better. Yang Jian, I'll ask the first question again because I'm not sure if you caught it, but we've seen a lot of images and videos online of these kind of PCR testing booths popping up all over Shanghai. I think someone said there's thousands of them being put up. So I was just wondering if you have any information on that and if it's going to be something we see more and more often in the future.
Yes, the official announced there are actually 9,000 PCR testing sites across the city, and half of them have been opened already because, more local companies have restored operations and their employees need a PCR test report to apply for the digital pass to leave their communities and return to work. And according to the city's work resumption guideline, employees just returning to work also must take a PCR test every morning. So these 9,000 PCR testing sites will become very necessary as the city's pandemic situation become better and better nowadays. And they are mainly near the communities, subway stations, business parks, and office buildings. And the testing at these sites are free now till the end of June. And after that, the charge has also been reduced to 25 yuan each time. And according to the city government's blueprint, there will be 3 kinds of PCR testing sites. The first is those in about 200 local hospitals. And the second is the convenient sites, just like the newspaper booth. And the third is the mobile sites, which similar to breakfast carts, and so that they can be quickly set up in any emergency situation. So these facilities will become, like you said, a key part of the new normal or the normalized COVID prevention and control after the end of this resurgence.
All right. Yeah. So I was wondering about those. So I suspect that we'll continue to see those around the city for a while. Yeah. Another question I want to ask you though, and I know that throughout this process, we've been keeping up with a lot of different codes, from the vaccine code to our health code to our PCR testing code. I've heard that there's another venue code that the city is now rolling out. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what that means and how it works?
Yes, we used to show our health code before entering a public venue, and at the end of this resurgence, we might need to scan a code rather than show the code. That is the venue code you mentioned. And a city official said that the venue code can ensure a faster admission and more accurate for the monitoring and the tracking of the coronavirus. And by scanning the code with WeChat, Alipay, or Ban apps, people will have their health code, the PCR test report, and other information registered automatically. So it will be easier for the venues to monitor the number of visitors, since their capacity might be limited at most of the indoor venues after this COVID resurgence. And the venue code has actually been used at many communities, supermarkets, shopping malls, and other public venues. And today, the city authority just announced it will be promoted to cover all the tourism attractions, libraries, museums, and other cultural venues. So basically, I think it has covered all local public sites, and it might also become a key part of the city's post-pandemic urban operation, and like Andy said, to become the new normal, like the PCR testing that will become part of our daily life in the near future. Alex.
We're definitely looking at a bit of a different looking Shanghai when we get out of this. Hey, I wanted to switch to some of the bad news I've noticed recently, and that is that the number of patients in critical care seems to be still rising, even though the overall numbers are going down. What have you heard from the government in regards to how those people are going to be, looked after in hospitals in Shanghai?
Yes, actually, there are now over 500 patients with severe symptoms, and nearly 100 are in critical condition, and most of them are seniors with severe underlying diseases. So the official said Shanghai has now set up a medical rescuing team of 500 experts for them. And one big difference is the 500 experts are from a wider variety of departments, including the cardiovascular, digestive, tumor, TCM, and even pediatrics. And previously, we only have those experts focusing on the infection and the respiratory and the severe symptoms. And also there is another group of TCM doctors who will provide targeted medication solutions for each of the patients in critical conditions. And also, of course, the officials stressed today that the importance of vaccines for the prevention of severe symptoms for the seniors, and asked all the eligible elderly people to take the jobs as soon as possible. Andy.
Yeah, you mentioned TCM. For those of us who might not be familiar with that acronym, it stands for Traditional Chinese Medicine, which I think most of our viewers will understand, at least conceptually. So I know that many residents of Shanghai received a package of TCM herbs yesterday or in recent days from the government. And some of us, especially myself included, who doesn't normally use TCM a lot, we're not really sure what to do. Can you tell us what they are and how they should be taken or used?
Yes, I received 2 bags of such TCM herbs from the neighborhood committee yesterday, and because in my impression, TCM recipes are tailored for each people after the diagnosis of TCM doctors. And today, an expert from a local TCM hospital explained that this is actually a preventative prescription, which can enhance the immunity and resist the Omicron subvariant. And the recipe was jointly made by the city's TCM experts. And he said it includes 5 common herbs, which he said are quite safe to drink, and because some of them are extracted from food. And the recipe is mild and balanced, so adaptable to people with different qualities. And about how to use it, he said we just need to put the herb back like Andy showed us, into boiled water and refill with hot water, like drink a cup of tea, until it is tasteless. And he mentioned people with sensitive digestive system might suffer stomachache and diarrhea after taking the TCM soups, so they should reduce the amount by half or stop using it immediately. And local TCM hospitals have the hotline for consultancy, and they can call the number for further guidance.
Nice. I noticed there's some instructions here. I'll have a look and try it later, and hopefully I don't have any stomach upsets. Young Jian, thank you so much. We will see you again tomorrow. Thank you.
Tomorrow. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Alex, did you receive the TCM?
Not yet. I got a few boxes of some TCM about a month ago, like near the beginning of the lockdown. I forget what it was, and I didn't use it, to be honest with you. But if I get this, maybe, I don't know. How about this? I'll be waiting for it, and then you can be the guinea pig. You try it out and tell me what happens, and then I'll figure out whether I want to do it.
Hey, I've already done that with the vegetarian burger, which I don't know if you've tried, but I made a burger today. Oh, you tried it? I'm going to play a video soon, so we'll switch to that shortly. But first, what I want to do is play a video from one of our viewers, Travel in China with Jean, I think was the name of his channel. He's actually been watching our show quite religiously, our live stream. Commenting was really awesome having him take part. Anyway, he is in Henan, in Zhengzhou, which is the capital city of Henan province. What I'm going to do is quickly show you guys. This is part of a video I made. I'll play part of the video, which is when I went there last year because of those huge floods.
By July 20, 2021, terrifying videos of heavy flooding in central China's Henan province began hitting the internet. Now, by then, the capital Zhengzhou had already been lashed by nearly 5 days of torrential rain, and it was overwhelming the city. No matter where you are in the world, you've probably seen video of the hundreds trapped inside the subway, or dozens upon dozens of cars floating out of the entrance of a 5-kilometer-long tunnel, like something from a Hollywood movie. Back here in Shanghai, we were preparing to cover the arrival of Typhoon Infa when we decided to head to Zhengzhou instead. So this is my video from that journey to discover how would ordinary people deal with what some were calling once in a 1,000-year flooding.
That was a video I did last year, obviously, and heading to Zhengzhou now. That was, really tough time. And now that city, 7 months later, is under lockdown, similar to Shanghai, except people are allowed out to buy supplies. In fact, we have a video sent in from our reviewer who took us along today to do just that, to go and buy some supplies. So we'll check out his video now. And then when we come back, we're going to have a quick chat with him.
Wonderful.
Hope that you're having a great day, and here's my small adventure to the grocery store. I hope you enjoy watching this. I have to go to the office to get a card first, so I'm walking to the office for a pass to go out. People are outside testing right now, so they're still doing that this morning, and the line is pretty small and very quick. I'm heading out now, and I have my pass to go out for 2 hours. So I can go out here for 2 hours, and as you can see, they're spraying and cleaning. So Starbucks is still working. The deliveries are still going to the houses. So today is a nice, beautiful, sunny day, and I'm spending a little bit of time going out to do some basic grocery shopping here. So I'm inside the mall now, and it's pretty calm and quiet in here. Up here is where I do my grocery shopping when I'm shopping for quick stuff. Lots of food. The other day when I was out shopping, this was completely full of people. But now it's empty, and still all the shelves are fully stocked, and you can buy anything you need for cooking. Rice and vegetables are back over there, completely stocked. So everything is completely full. We have full stocks of dairy and eggs and meats, frozen stuff. And not yesterday, but a couple of days ago, all these eggs were sold out. This was completely full of people last time. So I have finished shopping, and now I'm on my way home. So all the shops are closed down here as well. So I got some eggs, some basic supplies, and even some takeout. So that was my little adventure to the supermarket. I bought about 50 eggs or so, and a little bit of takeout and some other basic supplies that would last me for the next, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks or so. And that was the grocery shopping that I did today. Hope you enjoyed.
So that was travel with Jean. Is that how you pronounce it? Because I thought his name was Jean, and then he was like, no, it's not. It's not a girl's name. It's a French name. Oh, you're on mute, Alex.
Whoops. Is his first name Bradley? I guess we're going to talk to him.
Bradley Jean. Yeah. We're going to chat with him really soon.
Got it. Cool. All right. Yeah. Good video. Kind of gives you a bit. Like I said, that's Zhengzhou in central China's Henan province, a city that I've been to. I don't know, maybe 4 times or so. A place I rather like. I was really devastated to hear about the floods that they had. I suppose the lockdown isn't quite as bad as that. So I know the people there are tough, and I'm sure we'll get through however their lockdown goes. Hopefully, it doesn't need to be quite as stringent as what we're going through here in Shanghai, but who knows?
You know, you can already see he was able to go get a pass. Obviously, you still need a pass to be able to go out and get some groceries, but that is already much different than Shanghai, because since, just even for us in Puxi, starting from April 1, we haven't been able to go out at all to get supplies or anything. So to be able to get a pass sounds like something pretty awesome. But let's bring Bradley or Jean in now and see if the connection's okay. Hey, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you. Hello.
Hey, awesome video. Thank you so much for sharing your video. I was going to ask, how long now have you been locked down there in Zhengzhou, and how are you coping? You seem to be doing pretty well.
Oh yeah, it's great. There have been about a week or so now for the holiday that they have shut down the parks, and so that has been closed. But they just started the actual lockdown process 2 days ago. So about maybe 5 or 6 in the evening, people told me to go shopping, and I went out shopping on the crazy rush. And it took about 2 hours to get through the line for that grocery store that I went into.
Wow.
Yeah, it does look like, of course, we've all seen those sort of Chinese-style grocery stores usually crowded with people, so it is weird to see them empty like that. But I wanted to ask, so you've been watching our daily live streams from here in Shanghai for a while. Did you learn anything? Did anything we said or anything we reported on help sort of prepare you for the lockdown in Zhengzhou?
Yes, the community process. That's the biggest thing that I picked up on, getting into those WeChat groups and finding out about the information that you need to know when the testing is happening. So they sent me a message this morning, and they sent me a message yesterday about the special times and how they have it tiered for each group, for each building, and for the kids, so that doesn't interrupt their school as well. So they've got all that stuff organized. And so that was really good to get into. And then, in fact, just earlier, about an hour before, there was a community person coming door to door saying, hey, we're selling grocery supplies. Do you need us to get you any fruits or vegetables or things like that? And I think that's probably for the older people who have trouble getting out of their homes. You can call me Jean or you can call me Bradley. Both are okay for that. All is fine. So whatever you want to call me.
Jean, Bradley, I'm not sure how to pronounce. How do we pronounce it? Jean?
So yeah, it's Jean, like as in Jean-Luc Picard, or as in Jean Valjean. That's
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Or Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yep, that's also right.
Awesome.
I can't do that.
I was wondering, because you're locked down there in Zhengzhou, and who knows, based on the situation here in Shanghai, we really don't know when it will end, and it changes every day. So you're probably going to be cooking at home, and we saw you just did a lot of shopping. So I was wondering, like, before the lockdown, were you big on cooking at home, and what sort of things are you going to be, looking at doing during this lockdown?
So I actually, when I first got here, my first plan was, because we were possibly going to go into lockdowns and it had just been coming out of one, there was the thought in my mind that I should get like a air fryer and some other cooking supplies. So I regularly, when I wake up in the morning, cook a couple of eggs and have some coffee. And so I stocked up on more of that. I've got a freezer full of food, so I've got that stuff, but I added a little bit more to that. And the actual first night before it all locked down, I went out and did like 5 trips to the local store, like a 7-Eleven kind of store. It's called like Happy Mart. And I bought a ton of water. I went down there and came back so many different times. Oh, it was so tiring, but I wanted to stock up on that because I heard that you guys were talking about getting those supplies like Coca-Cola, and some of those things were a little bit difficult, so I didn't want to run out of some drinking supplies.
For sure. Hey, somebody just commented, is that Bing Dwin Dwin behind you?
Yes, it's the frozen one. It came today. It came today in the mail. So I got the frozen one there, and then I also got the other one.
Keychain guy.
Yeah, so I got both of them.
Nice.
That's so cool. Hey, awesome. Thank you so much for catching up with us. And if your lockdown goes on much longer, it would be really awesome to check out some more of your updates and maybe have you on the show again.
Sounds good. You guys have a great one.
Awesome.
Thanks for letting me chat.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you, man.
Thank
Talk to you soon.
See you later.
All right, cheers.
Bye-bye. Oh, that's so cool. So Jean. Honestly, when I see that name written down, I just, because I'm just English, I'm just a simple guy. I thought it was Jean. So yeah, Jean.
It's good to hear that it's good to hear that he's doing okay so far in Zhengzhou out there, and that maybe he was able to pick up on a few tips and tricks from what we sort of were going through. You know, we kind of, other than the original lockdown in 2020 in Wuhan, in Hubei province, where this all started, we haven't had any sort of city lockdowns like this. And so a lot of us in Shanghai were a little bit underprepared, both, in the literal sense, but also in the mental sense, in terms of not really knowing what was going to happen and how things were going to be sort of administered and what sort of preparations that we needed to make and adjustments and different things. And so at the very least, it's obviously unfortunate for any city to go into lockdown, but if Zhengzhou does have to do it, at least maybe there's a little bit of a precedent in terms of them knowing what to expect.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of cities that are locked down, we are looking at our famous view of locked down Shanghai, Lujiazui. Beautiful view. It looks brighter and clearer tonight, Alex.
Yeah, it was another beautiful day. I know I keep lamenting each beautiful day that we get and passes by because, we're on the 5th of May, Cinco de Mayo, as it were, today. But within a few weeks, it's going to be blisteringly muggy hot here in Shanghai. And so I really lament having to spend these nice days inside because we won't see them again until the autumn. But it is what it is. Can't do anything about it.
I'm not looking forward to that. Shanghai, it's going to be super hot. Annie Tan has commented, I'm not sure where she is, but she says, weather here is 33 degrees Celsius, humidity 66, but feels like 37 and 99. That sounds tough, and I think it's what we're heading for here in Shanghai probably. Now, every year, it could be, yeah. Every year, Shanghai often goes over 40 degrees Celsius. Last year we didn't, which was pretty good, but yeah, it gets pretty hot. Anyway, let's move along to our last video. Now, maybe not a couple of weeks ago, maybe like 10 days ago, we chatted with a vegetarian WeChat group founder. Do you remember that, Alex?
I do. I remember that they had a company called, I want to say it was called Beyond Meat, Malaysia, right? Beyond Meat, and they had some, and she was talking, their representative, she was talking with us about different things that vegans or vegetarians can do during the lockdown and different options that they have.
Yes. And a lot of you guys were really interested. She was from one of the products they sell is from Beyond Meat, but their company's called XB Vegan or Xiaobu Vegan. Right. Yeah. And you guys might remember on the show, she said to us, I might send you guys some of the fake meat. I call it fake meat, but people call it vegetarian meat. Sounds like an oxymoron to me. Anyway, it turns out she really did send some products. So what I've done is today I did a video using some of the fake meat products she sent me, and I also used some of them to trade for some ingredients with a neighbor, and a neighbor also used that product and did a quick video. So let's check it out, then we'll come back. And I think, Alex, you tried the meat as well today.
I did.
Yeah, so we'll come back and have a chat about how it tastes, but let's watch that video. Ooh, after a big spray, obviously, I opened it up and I saw it is from Xiaobu XB Vegan. It's this plant-based beef patty. Interesting. But first, I need to swap some ingredients. 你好，你好，汤吧，这就是那个。这个是 tomato. Thank you so much. Okay, 谢谢啊，拜拜。Tomato, super important. Okay, you fry the patty just like this, just like a real meat patty. And I'm adding some mushroom and egg, as well as that juicy tomato from Joy and some cheese. Chuck the mushroom in and fry like this. Look at it, just looks like real meat. Oh, we got a message. Joy has already sent me a video of how she prepared the meat patty. Oh, Oh, she's using cabbage instead of hamburger bun. Interesting. Oh, and cut it in two, and voila. Wow, it looks amazing. Looks just like real meat, don't you reckon? Enjoy, Joy. Back to mine, I'm using egg as well, and placing it on a single piece of bread. Put it all together like this, and voila, you have my special open sandwich with my homemade fries. Delicious. Now, all of this stuff you can get online on WeChat by following XB Vegan or Xiaopu Vegan. Enjoy, you guys. So that is that. Alex, what do you reckon? Did you like the flavor?
I did. I had planned on making sort of a chili. I actually made some tomato sauce today that I was going to use to make it into a chili, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I might end up just using that tomato sauce for pasta, but we'll see. In any case, I did have, I fried up similar to what you did. I didn't do it as decadently. I just had some lettuce and I got some Dijon mustard that's been sitting in the back of my refrigerator for a long time. But since I've run out of my hot sauce and barbecue sauce and every other sauce, now I've got the Dijon mustard, which I actually quite like. I had forgotten about it, honestly. But so I did the same thing. I don't have any proper buns. And so I just did 2 pieces of bread for a sandwich and put some lettuce and some Dijon mustard on there, and it was, I thought it was fine. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know that it tastes exactly like real meat, but it has a nice, it has a nice flavor to it. I couldn't complain. It was okay. I enjoyed it. Finished the entire thing pretty quick. It was good.
Yeah, and speaking of burger buns, did you see my neighbor Joy used what is it called? Starts with C. Cabbage leaves as the bun, and then she put it in like Glad wrap like that and sliced it in 2. Her thing also looks really yum, but I noticed she added real meat, so it kind of went against the point, but still looks delicious. And a lot of people are saying looks delicious. Now I'm hungry. Yum. Pretty decent food styling. So yeah, looks like you guys enjoy it as well. And I'm gonna try to use some of those meat patties, fake meat patties, to trade for some more food with my neighbors and see how they go about putting the meat together. But if you guys are interested in some of that, I call it fake meat, vegetarian meat, whatever you want to call it, you can follow their WeChat in Shanghai. It was just up on the screen. I'll bring it back. XB Vegan, you can find them on WeChat, or Xiaopu Vegan. They have English and Chinese service. And as you can see in the video, when I scroll past some of the products, there's lots of different products, including, Alex, I noticed today, they have, those little meatballs? They're kind of like, there we go, they're plant-based meatballs to put in a hot pot. That'll be quite interesting.
Sure, why not? Yeah, like real one, but like, imitation real one. Yeah, I'd go for that. Why not?
Yeah, I reckon if I didn't know it was meat, in China, you can sometimes, if you get a burger somewhere, it's not usually using real meat. It's using quite processed meat. If I didn't know that this patty was plant-based, I would have just thought it was maybe a low-grade meat patty. So I think, pretty good.
I thought it was pretty good. I mean, like I said, it has a little bit, it's obviously made with soy, and it has a little bit of that flavor to it, but I thought it was totally fine. I really enjoyed it. And I had no problem with it at all. I thought it was good. I still have several of them left, and I'll be finishing them in the coming days. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. So basically the point of all this is if you are currently under lockdown here in Shanghai and you are vegan or vegetarian, do head along to their WeChat and check it out. And also, it's a good way to also get together with, like in my instance here, contacting my neighbors, seeing who wants to swap some food. It's all part of the lockdown spirit. So enjoy it, you guys. Anyway, Alex, I think that's about all we have today.
Okay. No problem. We'll see smaller numbers again tomorrow. I will be eating. I made some tomato sauce today, so I'm looking forward to, enjoying a nice pasta dinner. Hopefully I did a good job with that. Mock meat. I like that's good.
Mock meat.
Anyway, so everybody take it easy, stay safe, and we will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Stay safe, and if you're under lockdown, whether here or in Zhengzhou or anywhere else, hold tight, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye, guys.